Well, for this segment of the PKN Packaging News podcast, recorded live at the AUSPACK 2022 exhibition floor, I'm joined by Dr. Morgan Wyatt. And Morgan, you're from Greenlid.
Yeah.
And that's Greenlid, the company.
Yeah, Greenlid, the company. Traveled all the way here from Canada to give a seminar and see what you guys had going on.
Cool. I was going to make a comment there that sounds like you're not from around here, as the saying goes.
Yeah, not to be confused with American, Canadian.
Yes, no, definitely. The real folks from up north.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when I was in the US and they were often saying, "Oh, which part of the UK are you from?" And I would say, "Oh, I don't know. Which part of Canada are you from?" And that's when they got it. But yeah, so you've come all this way. You've given a presentation. You're checking everything out. What was your presentation on?
My presentation was on looking at compostable tableware products and looking more specifically around PFAS or fluorinated chemicals that we're starting to find in all the packaging, and how ubiquitous these Teflon-like chemicals are, and how we can protect our environment, ourselves, and test and regulate these kind of uncontrolled toxins out there. Yeah,
well, I mean, they were a good idea at the time, but now we're realizing they're not so good, and they're turning up everywhere, and they're in our bloodstreams and everything.
Yeah, it's like 99.7% of people have it in their bloodstreams, and I don't know what happened with the other 0.03%.
They were living in a cave somewhere.
Yeah, but ever since the introduction in the 40s from Teflon, we've been using it for all sorts of things. And I guess on the schoolyard, you always knew not to eat off a Teflon pan that was scraped.
Yeah.
But now we use it in everything: molded fiber tablewares and packaging, papers, cosmetics, and these are forever chemicals, so they just don't break down.
Yeah, and we've here in Australia, it's been very topical due to their use in firefighting materials and so on, and found around some military bases, some firefighting bases, and things like that. So, yeah, it's a very topical subject, and I understand you can like PFAS-free compostable plastics products.
Yeah. We typically focus on like some of the molded fiber in the PFAS-free zone. My background, I have a PhD in chemistry, and actually that's why I got into looking at PFAS, because it all started out making compostable compost bins for your kitchen, making it out of egg carton material. So you pick it up and compost the entire thing.
Cool.
And we had a bio-based additive that made it leak-proof. And when I went to get it manufactured, they're like, well, we can make it a little bit more grease-proof for you. And I asked what the chemical was, and I saw this fluorinated hydrocarbon, and I was like, oh, that's toxic. And this was about 8 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, doesn't look good.
Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's concerned about the PFAS that's related to Teflon. Mm-hmm. It's very in the same family as the greenhouse gases that we're all like worried with the CFCs and everything else. But I came here because I'm working with Sustained Paper and PFAS Free Australia, because some of the regulations are going to come into play for testing for this. And our approach over in North America, in my North American branch of PFAS Free, is to look at total fluorine, because fluorine really shouldn't be in like plant fibers or like anything, because it's not really natural. So some other tests just look at like a PIGY test, which is a particle-induced gamma emission spectroscopy, just look at surface layers, but you can end up finding it deep in there. And anytime we add more of these products to the environment, they just stay there.
Yeah, they just don't go away. They don't break down.
Yes. Apparently there's a 5-year half-life in the human body, and that's just to kind of remove it out. It's not like it gets really broken down.
Yeah, it just shifts it somewhere else.
If we stopped eating or getting into our system just now in zero, it would take 5 half-lives to essentially get it out of us. So we have no idea the consequences all these fluorinated compounds have on the...
It's very long-term.
Yeah, 25 years to clear our systems of it.
Yeah, and if you started at 30, well, good luck. So, so can you step us through what some of the food service products and so on that you're working on? So
in Canada, Greenlid, we actually do a lot of private label for major retailers, their entire sustainable tableware sections.
Yep.
And we focus on really natural products, so fiber-based, non-wood fibers in particular. So we have compostable bamboo fiber cups. We have molded fiber lids for those. So your coffee cups that are can break down. Birch cutlery that we sharpen blades and make sure that you can actually cut steak and things like that.
Oh, that's handy. Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, even with the plastic ones, we realized people just started making them thinner and thinner to get more and more uses out of them. But we've actually got a quality product. Wheat drinking straws is another cool one.
Cool.
The reason it's called a straw is because it was originally made from it, and we just cut these in the field and we wash, clean, and sterilize them. So they're grown and not manufactured.
That's fantastic.
But we have a whole plethora of different things on our website. I guess I'll give a plug at mygreenlid.com. Oh, and I forgot to mention one really interesting one. It's called an eco cooler. And so anytime styrofoam coolers or disposable coolers, we have one made from old corrugate cardboard that's all molded. Can hold 30 cans and a 10-pound bag of ice. It holds the ice in there. You can reuse it.
Doesn't get all moldy or anything?
No, you can keep reusing it and keeps the ice there for 24 hours, which is pretty good for...
That's your party right there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great for the beach.
Yeah, exactly. And that was by greenlid.com?
Mygreenlid.com.
Sorry, mate. So greenlid.com. That's fantastic stuff. And interesting use of bamboo. There's a number of items using that these days. And
yeah, we're trying to always, there's only so many forests out there. I think if we keep deforesting, or the recycling stream isn't perfect because the fibers get shorter and shorter. So we need something a little bit more renewable. And in Canada, we're building factories there that are actually going to be processing non-wood fibers just directly off the field and making our plates and things like that. Right from organic crops.
And you can grow a lot of bamboo in a small area, and it grows really fast too.
Yeah, totally.
Having cleaned out a few stands that got in the way, they were in the wrong place. So, okay, you've come out to Australia. You're going through all the non-PFAS and some great products there. But how are you finding the show?
I think the show's been actually pretty interesting because I'm looking for new machinery for our new factory too, so I can get it, and some of the new innovations, just like subtle changes to spark your imagination and see what people are doing here. Even doing store tours kind of like gives my idea of how you guys package things here versus back in North America. It's a little different.
Oh, yeah. I was living in Boston at one point, and the first time I went to buy chicken, and it was all yellow, and I thought, this is odd. And everything was yellow, and then I thought it was the packaging, and then it was the skin, and it was like, okay, that's just different. So yeah, it's those little differences, because otherwise it's very much like being here in Australia when you're over in Canada or things like that. And I find the culture shock can be more because it's so close to home, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very similar. Just those little subtleties.
Yeah,
you're like, oh,
yeah, and they bite you. It's like you're not expecting them. No, that's cool. So, anything else you'd like to say while you're here?
Well, I guess like if anyone's listening to this, I'm doing another talk about doing sustainable tableware lines and kind of protecting retailers and brands a little bit about how you can do a good selection that lasts time periods where you're not worried about having to update it. And also just wanted to thank my Sustained Paper folks in the PFAS Australia guys for bringing me down here. They're really keen about ensuring products don't have PFAS in there. And they've got this cool new grease-proof paper that is PFAS free that's going to change how we wrap like burgers and things like that.
Oh, fantastic. No, that's great stuff. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on the show. Yeah. It's been really good to hear what you're doing, and may there be more of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much.